Today is June the 6th, and we're calling the meeting at 6:03. May I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Daryl Anderson, Beverly Raymond, Christopher Smith, Ellen Clark, Harold Doucette, Jerry LeBeouf,
Here.
Rhonda Connor. You have a quorum.
You all received a copy of the minutes of the following board meetings, which was 3, 1 joint board meeting. Can I get any questions? Can I get a motion and a second?
I so move that we accept the minutes of the May 2nd regular board meeting, May 9th special board meeting, May 23rd special board meeting.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We have the following presentation by Jeremy Houston.
Yes, Chair. He is on his way. Jana just alerted me that he's on his way, so he does have an item on your agenda a little further down, so we can just let him come up and speak if you all would like him to during that agenda item.
But again? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I thought we already hit that. I didn't know. Invocation and pledge. Ms. Connor, can you do that one?
Thank you, Lord, for letting us all join together tonight to do what's best for the EDC board and for the city of Port Arthur. Guide us to make right decisions, and that everything that we do will be according to your perfect will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Chris, I'm sorry. So if he comes, we'll let him do whatever he needs to do. So can we go to communications now? Okay.
You all have, oh, I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
No,
and
go
read.
on. That's okay.
Okay. You all have in front of you in your packets communication from Christian Faith Women of Virtue. They have their annual Diamond Conference luncheon. I believe it was held back during the last 2 years due to COVID, but they have approached the EDC board in the past to sponsor this event, and the information is there before you, so it's the pleasure of the board if you all would like to sponsor their event.
3 participants on the call, including you. You are joining your conference as the host. For a menu of available commands, press *#.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, this is Austin Hvac calling in from Frank's office.
Okay. Austin, you can hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Okay, it looks like it came after the reports, Ms. Raymond.
A few minutes while I would wait to catch my flight back to San Antonio.
Okay, Crystal, so what are they asking here?
So it looks like for a table of 8, sponsorship for a table of 8 would be $500.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Doucette?
How many people could attend?
500.
I don't think that they have the option for per person. It's more so their option is only sponsoring a table. 8.
Put in for nonprofits, right?
Women only.
No, it's for everybody. But I'm just saying we've been doing it, right?
Historically, they have not.
We've done it in the past.
That's what I thought.
Not every single year, but we have sponsored in the past.
We would not do it now?
Right.
The only thing the board can consider is whether it can be considered economic development. Other than that, there is no reason for it not to be considered. So you can look at how this could promote economic development for the community.
Just don't want us to get into where we sponsor table when the chamber gets, somebody do something and then we have some organizations ask us to sponsor and we don't sponsor, so we just have to try to do it. I think what we probably need to do is probably go ahead on, and I would say that we go on and do this one. I think we need to go back and address, though, in the future, we need to set some policy by which we're going to find out what we'll sponsor and how much in the future. And that way, from then on, we'll have a policy to follow where it won't be a discussion on what we'll do and what we won't do.
I understand they do have a policy, but have not been utilized on a regular basis. Am I correct, Crystal?
There has been a letter that we've sent out in the past, because this discussion did come up during our agenda review last week. In the past, we've sent a letter out to those that are requesting any type of sponsorship on how it would affect economic development. And we did send that over to Frank Garza, our legal attorney, to review that letter for us to see if it is still in good standing. And I actually was planning on bringing that back to the board next meeting so that you all can take a look at it and see if that's how you would like to proceed as far as the policy goes.
Oh, I'll say we approve it, but I think we need to really go back and take a look at the letter so then we can actually let the staff know what parameters we are, so when it comes to us to be within line with what we say, so we'll automatically be able to approve it without discussions. So I make a motion that we approve this one.
Second it.
A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passed. Speakers, the reports, workforce development, please.
Oh, he's here?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Houston? You ready? Serious.
How you doing, board? All right. We're coming to you guys here today to ask for permission to utilize 23 acres of property located on Jade Avenue as a temporary debris site. To give you a little bit of history, the city of Port Arthur must be prepared for potential catastrophic weather events such as hurricanes and tropical storms. During these types of events, they will be classified as emergency events where we must coordinate and facilitate the management of debris deposited on our public lands and on the public right-of-ways. Because of the inherent dangers posed by this uncollected debris, it is in the best interest of the city to protect against the accumulation of debris. What we're asking is that you guys would allow us the opportunity to utilize the undeveloped property that y'all have located on Jade Avenue as a temporary debris staging site in the instance of a potential hurricane or tropical storm.
Same as usual, you all going to return it to its original states upon completion, right?
Yes, sir.
And if we said no, then you got it on the agenda to be approved by council tomorrow, so you'll be in trouble, right? Yeah. Hey, seriously, so, he's kind of late, but, council going to approve it. Yeah, but it's been the same thing we've done in the past, and one of the stipulations has always been that site is returned to its original site upon completion of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We would be doing it.
I'm a little bit new to the party, so you're going to have to help me understand. What are the advantages to you guys utilizing that land and not using all the other land that we have vacant in the city? Is it because of the proximity to the dump location?
Well, that's
or
one of
is
the-
it because it's so close to being close to the exterior of the city limits?
Well, that's one of the things, because it is closer to the landfill, but also it's been through the inspection process. It's passed in the past events, and we just like to continue utilizing that site since we have all of the, since it had been through the whole process.
It's also, this is not close to a residential area as well.
That's correct. It's unoccupied lands, unoccupied, undeveloped lands that y'all have over there that we would be utilizing. So it wouldn't be a threat to any of the residents. We wouldn't receive any complaints as such.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Against? Motion passed.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Okay, next, we'll have our staff report. The report's workforce development.
Good evening, Board. This evening, I'm going to start off by giving you the report on our CDO program. As of right now, we currently have 11 that have completed the actual program with certifications. We have 22 that were invoiced overall. One actually failed out of the program because of the simple fact that, not that he wanted to flunk out, but he had to take care of some personal matters at home. I will say that this program is a great program. We have people coming in daily, and I will say that we are out of funding right now. So as of right now, we have no more funding for our CDO program. We will not be able to actually offer classes through the EDC until after September 1, once the budget is actually approved and everything goes before you and council. As of right now, of course, you all know, we actually start off with 37.5 on enrollment and 37.5 on completion. We do have some that are still enrolled in the program, so it's not to say that we're totally out of money, but we're totally out of money as far as enrollment is concerned. So we still have funding available for completion, if that makes any sense. As you all know, Class A is a 15-week program, Class B is a 10-week program. Currently, right now, we have 13 in Class A and 8 in Class B. Once again, funding is depleted until fiscal year 22-23 budget is approved. Do you have any questions?
Now, that budget went to a higher rate, of course, right?
Yes, for the next fiscal year, it will be increasing.
So they didn't grandfather us in or anything like that? We have to pay the regular going rate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Moving on, our youth employment program. I will say that all applications have been turned in for our youth employment program. We will place 16 students this summer. 3 will go to Robogistics in the general admin. Clifford Distilling down the street will actually take on 2, 1 in inventory control and 1 in admin. The City of Port Arthur has chosen to take on 5. 1 in the accounting department, 2 in parks and rec, 1 in the legal department, and 1 in the water utilities department. The press building, today, Gianna had 2 of her interns to start. 1 is going to be a receptionist and 1 is an admin assistant. Also, the county has actually came on board to take on 2. 1 will be in a floater position and the other will be in admin. And team fabricators, we finally, I wish Daryl was here tonight, but we actually have a welder. So team fabricators will actually have a welder that will start. He's actually been through the process. I just got clearance this afternoon as far as his background check. We talked, he's going to get in to get his physical and drug screen done. So hopefully next Monday he will actually be able to start work. And I'm very happy about this because a lot of these employers that I'm speaking on, they do retain some of our youth. Also, before I forget, we actually had 8 students to start today. So I actually got clearance last Friday. So we had 8 to start today. So I'm very excited about that. Once again, background checks have been completed and students are now taking their physicals. And like I said, 8 started today. Our scholarship committee. Basically, we actually got everything in. The scholarship committee has turned in all information. Calibrations have been completed. And if you look at your report or the report I provided you with, you will see that I'm pleased to announce that we have 5 amazing scholarship recipients for 2022. 1, Victoria Nguyen. 2, Jocelyn Barras. 3, Argilio Rivos. 4, Govinde Lee. And 5, Abigail Salazar. So spring 22 is currently ongoing. Well, actually, they just finished with the students that actually had a scholarship last year, just finished. And they have finished semester 2 at Lamar. A lot of them have come in to bring in their transcripts, and I will say I'm very impressed. I have been seeing a lot of them with very good GPAs. They have made the president's list, the dean's list, so this is actually working out, and I'm very, very excited. Also, moving on, and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later on the agenda, our Digital Workforce Academy program. I'm pleased to announce, I don't have that in my report, but I'm pleased to announce that 5 of the students that actually went in spring, they all graduated with their NCCE or Pipefitter 1 certification. Out of the 5, right now, since we've actually started the inception, we have 1 that in this particular group, 2 possibly, because I spoke with Mr. White today, that will actually be working at Zachary, making a wage of $21.50 an hour. And then the last class that ended in the fall, actually 2 of them are placed with Zachary. And I am pleased to announce that after I spoke with him today, he assured me that the class that just finished, they all will possibly be placed at Zachary. So that's 100% completion. And so pleased to say that the NCCER Pipefitter program is actually working really well. And that concludes my report for tonight, unless you guys have any other questions.
Now, on the youth program, you know, you really got my attention when you said Team Fabric is going to have somebody,
yes,
one person, and there's a possibility they could work there. And do we look for people to put them in where possibly at the end of their summer hire that they have the possibility of
yes, we do.
working there?
Yes, sir. In the past, I will say Robogistics, I'll give them as an example. We've actually placed about 5 kids there, and they wanted to retain all 5. And I think out of the 5 that year, 3 remained there, and they're still there. Last year when we did it, I think 2 were retained, because what it is some kids, they want to stay here and go to school, but you have some kids that actually want to go off to school.
I understand that. It's just that, you know, it's easier for us to send somebody to somewhere where there's a possibility that they could be hired, as opposed to somebody just going to hire them for the summer in this particular case. So sometime if somebody is willing to do that, I think that's where we should funnel the kid to, so that when they finish, they would at least have a possibility, and knowing that if they work real well, that they possibly could be hired there.
Right, and that's what's been done in the past, and that's what like we have 3 students that actually started at Robogistics today, and those 3 students have actually have a chance of working there permanently, as well as Team Fab, that welder. Once he works, if he gains those soft skills and if he does what he's supposed to do, he has an opportunity to get hired on at Team Fabricators.
Well, not only that, but if you get the certification, he
right,
can be hired somewhere else.
Actually, he actually has it. He actually has his welding certification already. He gained it through the Cna Program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah, he actually has
a real
it.
benefit, not just with them, he could go work with contractors. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Renata.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Financial report. It's done.
Chair, Ms. Jackett will have your monthly report for you next meeting. Due to the workshop today, she's going to have your monthly report next meeting.
Community and Business Center report.
Good evening, Board. Pleased to say that I'm officially officing at 549 4th Street, and my 2 interns started today. They're both twin students from Memorial, bright young ladies who have been accepted to Xavier University in their biology pre-med program. They are extremely bright. I planned out 8 hours worth of work for them today, and they were finished by 11:45. So I have my work cut out for me tomorrow to figure out what they'll be doing. Because they just kept saying, Miss Jan, I'm done, Miss Jan, I'm done. So, and it was done absolutely perfect. As far as construction on the building, we are right there. We have one of the large ring lights in the atrium that came in today, so the electrician has to come and install it. The Hernandez furniture team has installed all of the furniture, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's still some minor electrical, and the architects plan to come next week to do the punch walk, and then CTEX will have 30 days from the completion of that to complete all of the deficiencies that we find on the interior and exterior of the building. The EOC team has begun utilizing their space right on time for hurricane season. They did have a meeting in their conference room today with all of the emergency management team and department heads, And I'm excited that they're actually using that side of the building. Lamar is on summer hiatus, so there's been no activity on that side. The locksmith will be finishing up the locks that you all purchased by midweek of next week, and things are moving along fine. I do have a couple of items on the agenda for approval tonight, but I do have some special guests with me because, as I told you guys in the last meeting, I have more potential tenants than I actually have office space. And so what I'm excited to tell you guys tonight is that the EDC is going to be the catalyst for bringing banking back to downtown Port Arthur. There has been no banking in downtown since the city purchased the health department from the bank, and the Port Arthur Community Federal Credit Union has decided that they would like to utilize space in the press building in order to facilitate our residents and our city employees downtown. So this evening I have with me Jeff and Sabrina, and they're going to come up and talk to you about that, but we are extremely excited to have them in the building.
Jeff doesn't talk as much as I do. I'm Sabrina Miguez. I'm the CEO of Port Arthur Community Federal Credit Union, and Jeff is my right hand. He's the senior loan officer with us. We are very pleased for this opportunity. As most of y'all should know, the city of Port Arthur Community was founded by 10 city workers back in 1950. So our credit union is over 70 years old. And for many, many years, we were ran out of the basement of City Hall. There came a time that the city of Port Arthur ended up asking some senior employees to leave, and at that time we did not do risk-based lending, and so the credit union had to find other ways of lending, and because at that time lending was done depending on how many years of service and how much you made, and so it was done on a scale, and everybody had the same interest rate, way back yonder, when we were, yeah. Well, that can't be done anymore, and so now it's done by risk-based lending. And so at that time is when the credit union went community charter. We were community, but all the credit unions on every corner of the street was community as well. And so we actually left the basement of City Hall, and we moved out to Twin City Highway. And now we have our own building, a standalone building, and we are behind Central Mall. We've been looking for a reason to come back downtown. We had been, probably the last 2-3 years, we've been opening up branches at City Hall, and finally this opportunity came about. So we are very thrilled about it. We plan on bringing an ATM as well. There'll be an ATM. We do have an ATM at Lamar, and we have an ATM at City Hall. We will add another ATM to the building as well. So that's all I have, unless y'all have some questions for me as well.
Is it a shared location with other credit unions or facilities?
It will be shared with our credit union. We do not do share branching at this time. I think that's what your question is. We do not do share branching at this time. It's something I wanted to start, but this kind of has taken precedence over it. It's something I am looking to do. Share branching is something we are looking to do as well, though. So, but it would be shared to our branch over there.
All you have to do is do a good job, and everybody else gonna want to put a branch in there too. So, we have a bunch of credit unions. We bring a lot of people downtown, because most of the time, if you're successful,
but we want all the business, okay? Yeah. We want to be a little selfish.
Well, you should be, but we want more than just you, though.
I understand.
So we selfish too.
I understand.
It's gonna be a good thing.
We appreciate it. Thank y'all.
So we have been negotiating lease terms that I will present to the board at the next meeting, and I'm excited. It's a conference room space that we did utilize furniture for. We're going to take one of the long-term offices upstairs and make that the team's room, and they will have access right off of the bistro and lounge area, so there is a direct entrance to the building right next to where the credit union will be located. And I think all the city employees will be very appreciative, and I think it'll be good for residents in this area of town. And it'll also increase my revenue, so I'll be getting you guys a new pro forma. Any other questions?
Jen, I have one question, and I know this might be a offshoot from your program, but is the EOC, whoever's occupying the EOC, are they planning on doing any ramp drills to make sure all that technology works the way it's supposed to, so when it's supposed to work, we know it works?
Yes, and we are doing that right now, not just for the EOC, but for the entire building, because Lamar has their portion of the network, we have our portion, EOC has their portion. We're going to test the generator in the next month or so, probably sooner than that, and they are in direct contact with EOC individuals to make sure that everything that they need working is working. So that's another reason why I'm there, because you kind of have to coordinate all those different entities. And the professors are not there, but working with Reed and stuff at Lamar and IT, and just making sure that everybody is prepared for the upcoming hurricane season. No problem. All right, thank you.
Next one is operation report.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so for your report this evening, Board, we do have a couple of things to go over. AWC, the water and sanitary sewer study that is happening at the business park, they have began their study. They are gathering information on all of the users there as far as their operations. They're gathering different usage categories. So this is the start of their study so that they can begin modeling that system. So that is underway. Moving on to the sale of land to John Crane out in the business park. We are currently in the process of closing that sale. It should be done hopefully within the next 30 days. They have begun their pre-development process with the City of Port Arthur. We have discovered some new requirements that the Planning and Zoning Department has, as well as Drainage District 7, as far as new development goes. So right now I'm in discussions with DD7 as well as the Planning Department to see how we can possibly get this development grandfathered in, and then we may have to look at incorporating those new requirements into our future purchase agreements. Okay, Sprint Waste Properties, that transfer of property is complete. That did come before you guys a while back just as information purposes. It was just a transfer of property. The purchaser, they have named them now. They are GFL Real Property. The tenant and user of the site will remain the same. It will still be Sprint Waste Services. It is just the owner of the property that has changed. Okay, and a quick update on the maintenance position for the EDC. Human Resources has received all the necessary paperwork, and as Rachel touched on a little bit earlier, we have looked at changing that range of pay range for them up one step, which increases your budget by $1,000. It takes them from, it gives them about $1 increase. So they will be, instead of a facilities maintenance worker, a senior facilities maintenance worker, due to the fact that that is the only person responsible for the maintenance for this building, as well as now they have the additional press building, and they take care of a very good amount of lawn maintenance out of the business park. So they do have a lot of heavy duties. They do have to make a lot of judgment calls, so that will now be a senior facilities maintenance worker if you all approve that within your budget.
Has that been posted yet, that position?
I expect it to be posted this week, so everything has been approved by HR, so it will be posted this week.
Okay.
So get posted, who would do the interviewing?
We would.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and your HVAC system here at 501 Proctor, as you recall, we did have quite a bit of issues last year. ICM has began their work. The City Council approved our agreement with them to move forward with the air balancing in this building, as well as the repairs and updates needed to the rooftop unit. So that has started. They've been working last week, this week, and hopefully should be finishing up soon. Also, to make you all aware, 2 weeks ago we did have a rainstorm that came through. It caused an electrical surge in this building. That surge caused a good number, about 30% of our lights in this building to go out as far as the ballasts. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm not the expert there when it comes to the electrical here in the building. But it did blow some ballasts out. We are looking at possibly doing an insurance claim on it, depending on what that quote comes back as. So the electrical company was here today. They're going to provide us with a quote for that, as well as we did lose some controllers for our HVAC automation system here. So there are a few motors that are not running right now as far as our air goes because those controllers were blown as well. So that will also be part of that insurance claim.
Insurance claim, who are we filing it with?
That's through TML with the city.
TML with the city? Have we talked with Energy about it?
I have not.
Okay, how about checking with Energy? Because when they power go out and they power back on, you know, we're not supposed to be having a lot of stuff. A lot of people get damages from the surge when they put power back on, and they pay for some claims. So you have to check
Okay.
with them before we file a claim and see what they will say about this.
Okay, thank you for that.
And if not, they should take a look at what can they do in the future to prevent us from having so much damage done when they just turn service back on.
Sure.
You know, that's a lot of damage here for you putting service back on. So we can't go through this every time. So either they have to find a way to fix it so that we have a protector from their line to our building that will stop that, or if nothing else, what they're going to reimburse us for because of this surge that done so much damage. Just take a look into it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Economic Development Week, staff members, Ms. Barnes and Ms. Lee, went out to some of the schools. We went to the Jefferson Middle School, talked to the 8th graders, as well as the high school with the career and technical programs there. It was very successful. I'd say it was very well received. The ladies did a very good job presenting as far as what we do here at the EDC, creating awareness amongst those youngsters on what economic development is, what we do here in our community, and how it impacts and affects them as the youth in our community. So it was really, really well received. They were very engaged in it, so very successful. The Chamber of Commerce, this was also an awareness effort. I did have the opportunity to be a guest on their community podcast to give information about the EDC and our services, mostly for the small business side of the community. So that was a great opportunity to create awareness as well for the EDC. Yes?
That's something that we can market on our website, that podcast. That's something that we can push out, because when you look at what people think we do and what people know we do, you know, if they don't come to these meetings or they don't view these meetings, they don't really know what we're doing. But that podcast is something that can go on a lot of different mediums to kind of enhance awareness about what we do. And I don't know if that's something that part is, I don't know if we're still working on that branding strategy, marketing strategy. That might be something we can incorporate as we start doing this stuff with the community.
Yeah.
We can feed that into our platform to socialize what we're doing and how we're advising people about what we can support and what we do.
Sure, sure. And we have become very, a little more active on sharing stuff. So we can, I'm sure there was maybe some shares on their social medias. So we can definitely go find it and share it on ours to get that out there. And that concludes my operational report for you all this evening.
Questions? Unfinished business. discuss and consider the publication of the Port Arthur EDC newsletter. Crystal?
Yes, sir. This was carried over from your last meeting. It was tabled, I believe, at the last meeting. There was discussion amongst the board members on whether we wanted to go electronic or do a paper newsletter. So I think it's just the pleasure of the board to give some direction as far as if you all would like to see this go completely electronic, do both, which direction you all would like to see this go in. It seems like there's a consensus that we do want to continue a newsletter. It's just how we want to put it out there.
I really think that we need to try to move to where we have a digital format. I think in the long run, it's going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to be easier to update. And rather than us invest any money right now in a paper copy, especially since we're trying to watch our expenses, I think we should use all of our dollars to look into a digital format. But now that's my personal opinion.
And I second that wave of thought, because everything that we looked at right now is going digital. People are moving away from paper. People are moving away from things that are cutting trees down just to produce a document to go out to somebody who may not even read it. Not to mention, do we even know how many readers that actually read the stuff we put out in print? So that's another reason why we probably need to go digital, because we can actually count how many people are reading those things, and you can actually track it. So I support digital.
Well, I'm indifferent. I think that we should go digital, but we still have a lot of people, especially in our community, that is not digital sound. And because of that, I think that we should find a way to still distribute the paper. I understand it's a cost, but we want to inform all of our citizens of what's going on here at EDC, not just a portion of our citizens. So even though I know it's additional cost, probably can come up with sending so many instead of sending everyone a copy. There's something to look at, but I think we should continue, not fully, but at least partially, the paper.
Question, do we have any data around how many people subscription or subscribers are subscribing to the Port Arthur News and how many actually are readers? That might be a good benchmark to kind of see. We can see if people are getting newspapers, they probably read the newspaper. That's my assumption, because I don't get I read everything on digital. But if they receive a newspaper, maybe, and especially if they're in the city of Port Arthur within the city limits, that might give us a benchmark on how much production we need to do actually on paper versus how much digital.
We still have elderly that still get the newspaper. I know my parents, I'm only speaking my parents, but my parents and other elderly people I know of, citizens of Port Arthur, that still gets the newspaper. So if we want to base it on that, that's fine.
Not, I had a question, because I think you was in charge of all that before. Could we send partials out? No. I mean, you can't just send to the west side or east side.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know how that worked.
Basically, in the past, everything was, of course, we had a paper platform, but of course, we were talking about going digital, but I will say you will be able to decipher by zip code, so we will be able to send it to different zip codes. But I think that's an excellent idea about getting with the Port Arthur News just to see how many people, how many, cycles, because people make it the paper quarterly, weekly, I don't know, but that's a good question, just to reach out and see.
We could do that, we have time.
Yeah, we have time.
If we're going to do the paper format and you're going to be getting with the Port Arthur News, why don't you discuss us actually including a flyer in the paper? That way we don't have to worry about additional postage.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We don't need a motion on that or anything, we just table it.
How we want to go about it. Well, we are tabling because we need more data to figure out how we want to distribute.
Okay.
How much electronic?
Renata could help us with that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So
okay. Now we'll move to the consent agenda. We have one, discuss and consider renewing the annual impact dashboard subscription with Impact Data Source, LLC.
This is your consent agenda item. It is routine. We renew this annually. It is a way for us to gauge the return on investment on our projects. It is a tool that we rely on heavily. It does show the impact that a project will have on our community. So that renewal is $5,424.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And all in favor? Against? Motion carries. Now we move to the non-consent, and I think the first one was Mr. Houston. Is that correct?
Yes, and I think you all already made the motion
No other
and seconded.
discussion? Good. Second one, discuss and consider renewing the workforce training agreement with Digital Workforce Academy agreement.
This item is also a renewal. This is one of the items that you all had last year. I believe it started last year, Renata. Yep. So it's the same terms. This is the NCCER training that she spoke of earlier. So it's just up for renewal.
How effective was the digital workforce? Did we need to, was it pretty good? Looked like it was.
Last year, I think you guys allocated $27,000, and I know that 25% was due up front, 50% at completion, and 25% at placement. So it's really at the liberty of the board if you guys choose to increase the amount, but that was the amount that he asked for. So he actually took 5 in the fall and 5 in the spring.
We need to increase it by what you've seen?
What you think, Crystal? I think
Normally, they'll approach us and let us know if they see a need to increase it, if he thinks that the enrollment's going to go up. I believe that he was okay with where it's at now.
Yes, I spoke with Mr. White a couple of times, especially I spoke to him today, and he's okay with the $27,000.
I think the key that we should really monitor is placement. Okay? You know, all our training that we pay for is placement. That'll tell us if we getting a return for our money. We pay for somebody to be trained, the people place them, then that's worth our money. If we're not getting them placed, then we have to take a look at why we provide the training, because part of that money is tied to our placement.
Right. And with Ed's comment, retention is going to be my next area, because I mean, if you can place them, what are they staying? Are they growing? I don't know. We have some type of checklist or some type of feedback system. Let us know how they are progressing in those organizations, because you know it's good coming in the door, but the harder part is staying in the door.
So I will say a part of what I'm going to start doing is we're going to start retaining historical data. That way we know how to move forward with these programs. So that's what we're going to start doing. And that was something that was brought on by former management.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, are we planning on implementing the CNA program this budget?
Crystal, I'm going to give that question to you about the CNA program.
On that one, we did talk about possibly looking at different training facilities that would be willing to do it. We have not been approached as of yet by a facilitator for a CNA program. They are out there. Renata and I spoke about it a little bit. We may, if this is something that the board really wants to pursue, then we're going to have to go out and find a facilitator who would be willing to partner with us.
We did want to pursue it. You know, just tell us what the cost is, and then we can make a determination on whether it's something that we have that we could take now, if it's something that we cannot undertake now, and we can take it in the future. But we do know that that's one program that is of always demand. So we would like to provide training that we know they have a great chance of getting employed here in this area. But once again, it's not nothing we're saying that you got to put in your budget, because we know you've already worked on your budget right now and everything, but we need some groundwork to see if we can do it or if we need to put it as a priority for the next year. But even if we do it next year, we just still need to start it in advance so that when we do allocate the funds that we could get going instead of trying to get going. But there's something you should pursue with the intent and understanding that if we could, if not now, later, was something that we would like to address.
The issue I have is that we discussed this months ago regarding CNA, and it seems like it's just being thrown on the back burner. So again, we talked about it before, the board showed an interest that we want you to pursue it, and we would like you to pursue it and possibly put on this year's budget for 2023.
And I just double-checked that as you were speaking. We did budget for it, so we do have plans to go ahead and implement that. It's just about finding a facilitator.
Yeah, we have to find someone.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a motion on item 2?
So moved.
Have a second. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Item 3, discuss and consider the recommendation of a scholarship committee.
Basically, this is just for you guys to okay. What I talked about earlier in my report is agreeing and approving the actual 5 recipients that are getting our scholarship for 2022.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and second. In favor? Against? Motion carried. 4th is discuss and consider approving a change order to the cabling contract with Hvac for the purchase of 2 additional quads at 549 4th Street, the press building.
This is similar to the contract change we had last month. That was over $4,000. We had to purchase those additional items for the students in that classroom. This is for the building automation system. And I believe if all of the subs would have been on board from the inception in the design phase, we wouldn't have found these little tedious items at the end of the project. But this purchase is necessary for the building automation system.
Moved.
Second. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Discuss and consider lease of a copier from Hernandez Office Solutions for 63 months for the press building.
Yes, this is a contract asking for approval to lease the copier for 63 months. And I did that along the lines of the wishes of the board with the other technology in the building to lease it for 60 months like we did with all the technology from Hvac. Because it will be utilized by all the tenants of the building, it's not just like here where we purchased this copier but only 6 of us are using it. This one has walk-up USB capabilities. We will be charging those tenants and those co-working members for copies in excess of a certain number. They will have to pay to use the copier. It also makes booklets. It stitches, you know, like size of booklets. It folds and makes brochures. So any of the marketing materials that Renata needs for this building and what I need from that building, it has far more capabilities than our copier here at 501 does, and we'll be able to do a lot of that printing in-house.
Question. The copier is the maintenance.
It's included. Mm-hmm.
Good.
And that's why I figured with the number of users, we probably want to lease it at the 5-year term like we did the rest of the technology, because it's a possibility that we'll need to upgrade it, or it'll get to the point where they're not going to pay to maintain it at that point.
And we opted to
Opt to purchase or opt to upgrade, just like everything else.
like that. Okay.
Motion, please.
So move.
Motion and second. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Next one, to discuss and consider approving the purchase of a co-working software for the press building.
Yes, my recommendation to the board is to purchase the software Yardi Cube. I fully vetted lots of co-working softwares. Yardi's been in business since 1983. I don't see them going anywhere. I've utilized their platforms on the multifamily side, and this will not only allow us to lease the space in the building, they'll be able to lease it through the software. It also markets Our day passes and everything on the local, regional, and national level, it will incorporate both the EDC and EDC's website along with the Press Building's landing page. And if someone is in Houston and has business with Motiva and they need an office for the day, they can rent it online, pay for it, ACH, just like you pay your water bill with the city, done deal. They can open the door with their cell phone. Done.
Assuming that's cloud technology,
All
right?
cloud-based.
Okay.
And right now, Yardi, because they are the top premier program in the country, they're usually a lot more expensive, but right now they have a half-off promotion. So the installation is $4,000 and the monthly charge is $500. And we've locked that price in for the next 36 months.
The question would be, $4,000 for installation, $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. So that's $10,000 and $6,000 for every year after. And for what you're talking about doing, I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, why can't when somebody want to lease a space, they check with EDC, and if you're going to lease a space, give them a key.
We're not talking about the long-term offices. We're talking about the co-working space, the membership.
Okay, well, I'm just talking about that too. I'm still saying that's still a lot of money. Why can't they just go through contacting you in the office, and if you need to put it on some type, let's do it. But that's a lot of money you're speaking about right now. You just have to explain to me why we have to pay $10,000 initially and $6,000 a year for somebody to rent space and open a door.
This is how it was designed from the inception of the project, for everything to be automated, for the leasing and everything to be automated online. This is how we set up the security system at the building, the door spaces, everything. If we don't want to do it this way, I can go back to DataBox and do some different things, but the system was always designed to incorporate co-working software from the beginning of the project.
Right now, with the cost of the building and everything the building costs, and right now it's during the budget, something like this, I could see it maybe next year after, when we could fit it in the budget. Right now, we're trying to balance the budget, and I see $10,000 here in this budget, and I just don't see the return. You say that's the way the building was designed. Yes, it's designed, but the building can actually function right now the way it is for a year or two. And this $10,000.
We have not exceeded our construction budget, and based on my pro forma, I actually will still make a profit even with this cost at the regular price.
Well, you're talking about the construction budget. We're talking that building costs more than what it was projected, okay? Period. And right now, the fact that we have to now furnish it and get the things so that it can operate and operate effectively, and that people going to use it because it's what it was designed to be, is fine. I'm just concerned right now with the something we're going to do, and right now we're talking about budget is tight. That's a $10,000 there that I'm saying. It's good to do, it's good to have. We're moving in technology, but right now it's $10,000 for that. I do have questions, and like I said, if the reply was simply because it was in the original plan, it doesn't mean it has to come out the original plan either. It just doesn't have to be executed now. So, that's the comment I said. I don't know the impact. That's why I'm asking you. But
Yes,
right
sir.
now, we need to look at how to get this building to what we design it to be. This building has to be able to provide the services and do what we want it to do. But at this time, we have to go back and take a look at now What do we need now to get it operational? And then as we move forward, we can always upgrade and do other things. But right now, it's very critical with the money we're spending on that building. I'm not willing to just let money go to that building right now because the cost has overrun, one, and our budget is tight for this coming year. So we're going to manage money now. Now we need to start going with necessity instead of wants. Need versus wants. And looking at this, I think it's a want right now because you basically told me that the reason we did it because it was in the original design, and then you also stated that the fact that it's not nothing that you have to have right now.
Well, I'm just saying that all of the technology in the building is based on utilizing the co-working software, and it is one reason why I'm the only employee assigned to that building. So we can go back and, you know, change the way some things are done if it's at the board's pleasure to not have the co-working software at this time. But then we're going to have to look at how we're going to market and do some other things and go back and look at the technology in the building because it was designed to fit into a co-working platform. But it's at the pleasure of the board. Whatever y'all, you know, want to do, I'm willing to do. But I do plan on operating at a profit from day one with this cost incorporated.
Okay, well, like I said, you know, it's not about operate for profit right now because you haven't gotten any money. What we try and do now is spend money and manage money so that we can start having our reserve build up and that we can be able to have other things to do.
Absolutely.
And like I said, at no means do we need to make decisions to cut $10,000 when we've invested so much money. That's why I defer to you to explain to me, is this something that we really need to do right now? And if so, then I'm for it because we put a lot of money in that building to try to cut a nickel and a dime. Now that ain't where I'm going with that. I'm going with if we need it and it's an integral part, then we must do it. Because I don't want to save a nickel now. We don't spend $1.
Right. I understand. I could think of 5 other things we could cut other than the co-working software.
That's what I need to hear.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you. I moved.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Discuss and consider the recommendation of the Executive Director Search Committee to enter into agreement with Next Move Group LLC for executive search services to recruit its next executive director.
So moved.
All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Number 8, discuss PAEDC, Public Information and Media Relations.
I believe this was requested by Board Member Smith.
Right. Fellow Commissioners, it was my aspiration and thought to put to you guys for consideration on how we share information and how information is shared in uniformity about what goes on with the EDC and how information is being disseminated. It's my contention that I think it would be best as a part of the administrative services already being offered by the City of Port Arthur through the $133,000 we pay them a year, that we solicit the support of the PIO for all our external communications, whether Freedom of Information Act or however the information is being requested, that it goes through the city in one point of contact so information will be centralized and disseminated from one point of contact.
It's a lot said. Now break it down in layman terms. What are you talking about, Chris?
Okay, let me further break it down. I would like for us to consider one source of information when information is being requested about our activities at the EDC, go through one point of contact, which would be the PIO at the City of Port Arthur, for information that wants to be requested by whatever external entity that it comes from one place.
Now, I like that. With the only question now is, how would the PIO know our information? Because normally, the way it works with the city, if anytime somebody requests information, the PIO is the spokesperson that deals with the media at the same time. No, they have to refer to the department or the staff or the manager, whoever is the person that tells them what. We use the PIO, we have to tie it in with at least the CEO here, but the CEO directs it, and that's what you're talking about now, right? Okay, then, I got you now. You wanted action on that?
Yes, please.
Well, make it motion.
I so move that we consider the City of Port Arthur's PIO in conjunction with the CEO as we communicate communications from the EDC through the PIO for release to the media.
A motion second, all in favor? Against? Motion carried. The last item is discuss and consider rescheduling the 4th of July 4th, 2022 regular board meeting due to Independence Day holiday.
Yes, Chair. Your next board meeting scheduled for July falls on the actual holiday of July 4th. Normally, we move this meeting to a date at the pleasure of the board, whether you all would like to meet later that same week, the following Monday. It's just the pleasure of the board how y'all would like to handle that.
I ain't got nothing to do on the holidays.
Yeah, you be here by yourself. Yeah, I agree. I also move that we move it to July the 11th.
Second.
It's been approved. A motion and a second. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. That was July the 11th? Okay, now we'll adjourn to executive session in order to comply with the requirements of Chapter 551 Open Meeting Law, Texas Government Code. Prior to going into closed session, presiding officer to the City of Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation should be the following public announcement. Section 551071 Government Code to discuss with Attorney Frank Garza pending and potential litigations or legal advice, legal representation, duties and responsibilities. 551072 Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, a business park appraisal.
Darrell Anderson, Beverly Raymond, Christopher Smith, Ellen Clark, Harold Doucette, Jerry LeBeau, Rhonda Connor. You have a quorum.
Okay, I think we have no items to have a motion on. Is that correct?
Chair, one thing before you close the meeting. Joni did put this in front of you all. It is for the Small Business Development Annual Business Awards Banquet. We did choose to sponsor them, and she has 8 tickets here. So those of you that would like to attend, please get with her so you can get your ticket for it. I believe that's, June 14th.
What? Oh, no. Why?
I'm taking 2.
You'll take 2?
Your wife might want to go.
He's saying there's an extra if you want to take the one.
No, she ain't going.
That's why I got 2.
Are you going to go?
Oh, wait a minute. You give me 3?
Oh, did I?
Well, give me 2. Give me one more then. Give me one more. They're not going. I'm going to take them.
Yeah, we paying for them. Yeah, we paying for them.
Yes, ma'am. I'll bring Mr. Kinlaw and his wife.
Okay. To close the meeting, thank everyone for coming.
We got to make a motion.
What, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Got a motion, second? Adjourn the meeting.